Single mom's heartbreaking struggle for daughter's medicine. Then, an amazing CEO steps in to help. In the quiet town of Maplewood, the sun dipped low, casting golden rays on Main Street, where the scent of fresh-baked pies mingled with the laughter of children playing. But for Sarah, a single mother, every day was a battle against a dark cloud looming over her family. At 34, she was a beacon of resilience, working 2 jobs and raising her spirited 8-year-old daughter, Lily, who fought against a rare medical condition that demanded an exorbitant monthly medication. The bills stacked high, and her credit card balances screamed for relief. With each passing day, Sarah felt her strength waning, as memories of her estranged parents' critical voices echoed in her mind, reminding her of her perceived failures. One crisp afternoon, the town's community center buzzed with excitement. Neighbors mingled, sharing stories and smiles, while a fundraiser for Lily's medicine unfolded. Sarah, her heart pounding, stood at the edge, battling her pride. The warmth of community washed over her, but the thought of asking for help was a bitter pill to swallow. She'd seen the bake sales, the potlucks, and how everyone came together. Yet, asking for assistance felt like admitting defeat. So, she leaned against the wall, watching the world go by, feeling as though they were all part of a dream she didn't belong to anymore. Suddenly, a sleek black car pulled up, and out stepped Michael, the local CEO, known for his lavish charitable donations. He was once an ordinary man, acquainted with struggles, but success had created a chasm between him and community life. As he walked toward the fundraiser, something inside him shifted. He took in the sight before him, the townspeople rallying for Sarah, their faces lit with hope, kindness, and love. In that moment, he felt a pang of guilt wash over him, as if he was witnessing a vital part of life that he had long turned away from. When he offered assistance, Sarah's reaction was swift and defensive. "I don't need your charity," she snapped, her voice trembling. The confrontation, sharp and raw, echoed through the crowd, and all eyes turned to them. Michael was struck dumb, the tension thick in the air. The townspeople murmured amongst themselves, their expressions a mix of sympathy and disbelief. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Sarah wrestled with her inner turmoil. Her independence felt like an anchor. How could she accept help without feeling like a failure? The laughter around her blended with the strained echo of her parents' disappointment. Michael, stunned, thought about how he could understand the depths of her struggle. He didn't want to intrude, but he felt a growing urge to bridge the gap, to offer his support in a way that didn't belittle her fight. As the evening wore on, tension hung in the air, thick like fog, until a familiar face from Sarah's past appeared. Her estranged mother stood there, nervous yet resolute. Their hearts raced, and the years of heartache weighed them down. Confrontation loomed, threatening to unravel all their shared pain. As whispers passed through the crowd, Sarah found herself at a crossroads. Could she open up, let the kindness of this tight-knit community wash over her? Or would her fierce pride cost her daughter the medicine she needed? The atmosphere in the community center shifted as Sarah's mother, Brenda, took a tentative step forward. Sarah could hardly breathe, the ache of old wounds cutting deep. The smiles around her faded as everyone sensed the weight of this unexpected reunion. She had thought about this moment countless times, rehearsing confrontations in her mind, but now, facing her mother, the words escaped her. "Sarah," Brenda started, voice shaky but earnest. She glanced around at the small crowd, as if looking for support, and then back at her daughter, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I'm so sorry." Sorry." Sarah interrupted, her voice loud enough to make heads turn. "You think an apology can fix everything? You've been gone for years." The hurt spilled out, raw and ugly. Each syllable felt like a dagger, one she had kept hidden, the pain of abandonment and betrayal clawing its way back to the surface. I had my reasons. Brenda's voice was almost a whisper now, laden with grief. The years of absence stretched between them like a chasm. I want to make it right. I'm here to help if you'll let me. Help? Sarah scoffed, a bitter laugh escaping her lips. You think showing up now changes anything? I've been doing this alone, fighting for Lily, fighting for us. The murmurs from the crowd grew louder, blending into a cacophony of emotions. Some felt for Sarah, others for Brenda, the weight of the moment heavy in the air. Michael, still standing off to the side, didn't he know what to do? He shifted his weight uneasily, watching Sarah, feeling that familiar ache of empathy twist in his heart. He understood the wounds of abandonment, the struggle of pride against desperation. Sarah, he finally spoke, his voice steady yet soft. Maybe it's time to see this for what it is, a chance. Not just for you or for her, but for Lily. Think about what she needs right now. The suggestion hung in the air, and for a heartbeat, Sarah stood still. Her heart raced as panic and confusion twisted together. Could she really afford to open this door? She had fought so long to keep her daughter safe, living in a world where she controlled every piece for fear of losing it all. But the medications needed were growing more expensive, and her allowances were dwindling fast. As she contemplated, Lily's laugh rang out across the room, innocent and carefree. The sound sliced through Sarah's turmoil, the emotions swirling inside her calming for a moment. She looked over at her daughter, who was busy making new friends, completely oblivious to the heavy atmosphere surrounding her mother. The thought of Lily's needs pulled at Sarah's heartstrings. Could she set aside her anger for the sake of her little girl? Could she really let her mother back in, even if the scars reminded her of a painful past? Please, just listen, Brenda pleaded, the tears falling now, a direct reflection of Sarah's own despair. I want to help you help Lily. That's all I've ever wanted. Trembling, Sarah took a step back, the battle waging within her far more intense than she had prepared for. As she glanced back at Michael, she noticed him watching closely, concern etched on his face. In that moment, a flicker of vulnerability passed between them, one that whispered of understanding beyond their roles as mother, daughter, CEO, and struggling parent. But before Sarah could respond, a distant shout broke through the weight of the moment. Watch out. The eruption of chaos sent everyone turning. A child was stumbling toward the edge of the center's platform, a moment away from falling. In that instant, everything shifted. Would Sarah choose to embrace the fragile connection with her mother, or focus on the immediate danger unfolding before her eyes? Her heart raced again as she felt the weight of those critical choices, not just for herself but for the life of her daughter and perhaps the restoration of her family. Sarah's instincts kicked in, her fears suddenly overshadowed by the urgent need to protect her daughter. Without a second thought, she darted toward the platform. The shout had come from a small boy, whose eyes were wide with panic as he watched Lily teeter at the edge. Lily. Sarah's voice sliced through the noise, sharper than a knife. She felt adrenaline surging, propelling her forward. In those frantic moments, all the anger toward Brenda fell away, replaced by a single-minded focus. The room felt like it was moving in slow motion. Voices babbled in the background, but all Sarah could hear was the pounding of her own heart. She reached Lily just in time, grabbing her waist and pulling her back with a swift motion. They stumbled back together, Lily's laughter turning into startled tears. What happened, Mom? Lily's wide eyes mirrored confusion and fright. Sarah knelt beside her, wrapping her arms tight around Lily. You scared me, honey. You can't go near the edge. She smiled through her own rising panic, trying to soothe the little girl's shaken heart. Brenda stepped a little closer, the chaos of the moment reflecting the turmoil in her own heart. She watched, helpless yet present, as Sarah comforted Lily. I just wanted to see the balloons. Lily sniffed, reaching for the colorful shapes floating high above. I know, sweetheart. But it's not safe, Sarah replied, her voice calm but firm. She finally turned toward Brenda, an unspoken question resting in the air between them. Michael moved from the background, drawn to the scene. He quickly glanced at Brenda, then back to Sarah and Lily. "You did good, Sarah. You saved her," he said, admiration in his voice. The moment hung there, taut with unspoken emotions. Each person in the center was acutely aware of the delicate balance that had just shifted. "Can I try again?" Lily asked, her small voice cutting through the tension. She looked at her mother, her tiny hands now clutching Sarah's arm for reassurance. "Not today. We need to be careful," Sarah replied softly, not wanting to dash her daughter's hopes but needing to establish boundaries. Brenda stepped forward again, emboldened. Maybe I can help you both. I have experience with event safety measures, activities for kids. I could help plan things in a way that would make it fun and safe." Sarah felt the stirrings of irritation bubble up again, but something in Brenda's tone stopped her. There was a genuine desire to connect, to participate in Lily's world, and maybe even Sarah's too. For a brief moment, hope sparked, but it was quickly shadowed by doubt. "You left us parenthood isn't just about balloons and fun, Brenda. It's hard. It's messy and painful. Do you really think you have what it takes to be there to help?" "I'm here now," Brenda said, her voice growing stronger. "I want to be here. I wasn't strong enough before, but I can be now. I can help you with Lily with the finances, whatever you need." The sincerity in her eyes startled Sarah, a reflection of her own desire to let someone in, yet a flood of anger threatened to rise again. What if this was just another broken promise? Before she could answer, Lily pulled at her arm, her big eyes sparkling with hope. "Mom! Can we try? Please?" Sarah smiled weakly, caught between her past and what the future could be. Deep down, she yearned for that extra help, for a glimpse of what it might mean to let someone else in. As tension swirled, a thought echoed in the back of Sarah's mind: was this the moment to mend their broken family ties? Or would it crumble under the weight of the past? "Can you really be trusted?" Sarah asked, her heart racing once more. "You say you're back, but can I believe it?" The intense silence surrounded them, each second feeling like a lifetime, as Brenda's expression transformed, a mix of determination and vulnerability. "I won't to let you down this time," she vowed, her voice steady, yet trembling under the enormity of the promise. But as the words left her mouth, a little voice piped up, oblivious to the adult tensions hanging thick in the air. "Can I have a balloon now?" All eyes turned to Lily, the innocence of her request lightening the mood just enough for a tentative smile to break through. And as Sarah looked at her daughter, a thought flickered to life: there was no way to know if this time would be different, but perhaps it was worth finding out. The tenuous possibilities hung in the air, as Sarah faced a choice that could either reshape her family or lead to more heartbreak. Would she open her heart to the unpredictable path ahead, or would she take a step back to guard all she had fought so hard for? The answer was yet to reveal itself. Sarah took a deep breath, heart still racing from the whirlwind of emotions flooding through her. She watched as Brenda's resolve wavered, unsure if this moment was genuine or just another fleeting hope. Still, the tension in the air shifted ever so slightly under the innocent weight of Lily's request. "Okay, how about we get you a balloon?" Sarah relented with a reluctant smile, wanting to soothe her little girl but also to delay the weighty conversation ahead. "But remember, we'll have to keep it in a safe spot." Lily's face lit up, her worries momentarily forgotten. She clapped her tiny hands in excitement. "Yay! Thank you, Mommy." As they stood together, Sarah felt a warmth blossom in her chest, the suffocating doubt pushed aside, even if just for that fleeting moment. Maybe this was what it felt like to allow a sliver of trust back into her heart. Brenda watched as mother and daughter shared a moment, a twinge of longing coursing through her. She stepped away, giving them space while grappling with the ache of missed moments from the past. Then she forced a smile, wanting to bridge the gap that her absence had carved into their family. "Let us go find those balloons, Lily," Brenda encouraged, her own voice steadying her resolve. I might know just where to get the best ones. Really? Lily turned to her, eyes sparkling once more. Will you help me pick the biggest one? Absolutely. The unguarded enthusiasm warmed Brenda's heart, and she felt a flicker of hope for the future. As they walked hand in hand, Sarah followed behind, her heart pounding with uncertainty and the need to protect. The laughter that followed felt foreign yet soothing, echoing around her, mingling with a bittersweet reminder of what had been, but even as they talked and laughed, an uneasy feeling settled in Sarah's stomach. This moment could easily slip into another invitation for disappointment. Later, finding a quiet spot, Sarah stood back, watching the pair interact. Brenda leaned down as Lily stretched her little arms up, bubbly with excitement. For a moment, it looked as though they were stitching the fabric of their lives together, painfully slow, but genuine. "Mommy! Look!" Lily called over, holding up a bright red balloon, shimmering and swaying in the air. "Can I take it home?" "Sure, sweetheart," Sarah replied. She caught a glimpse of Brenda's eyes filled with earnestness and longing. Was this truly a new beginning? Could healing really take shape? A shadow of doubt lingered, whispering to Sarah that trust was a fragile thing, one misstep, and it could all unravel again. Yet, the spark of hope that had ignited within her was hard to ignore. As the day crept toward evening, Sarah felt an unfamiliar warmth in her chest. Maybe, she thought, just maybe there's a chance we could rebuild what was lost. Just then, Michael approached, a concerned look on his face, breaking her thoughts. "Sarah, can I talk to you for a second?" She nodded, instinctively stepping away from the cheerful scene of Brenda and Lily. "What is going on?" "It's about the fundraiser." Michael's brow furrowed. "We've hit a snag. There are some serious budget issues," and the words shrank around Sarah like walls closing in, cutting through the lightness that had somehow transformed the day. Panic bubbled up inside her. The fundraiser was supposed to help manage Lily's medication costs, a lifeline wrapped in papier-mâché and balloons. "What do you mean, snag?" She pressed, feeling her pulse quicken and a knot form in her stomach. "I mean, we really need to rethink our approach. We might not reach our goal." His voice trailed off, concern etching deeper lines across his face. Those words hung heavy in the air, and Sarah's heart sank. Far too many things in her world felt on a precipice, and she could sense the precariousness of it all. As comfort began to feel slippery, another question rose. How much longer could she shoulder the burdens alone? And then it hit her. What if Brenda could help, not just with balloons and fun but more seriously with the logistics of the fundraiser? Was this the moment to truly take a chance, let someone back in, and find that strength they could share? Maybe I just have to ask, Sarah thought, steeling herself for the opportunity ahead, but also dreading the potential fallout. Amidst the chaos, as laughter faded and uncertainty loomed, she turned her gaze toward Michael. "I think we need to bring Brenda in." But even as Sarah spoke, the uncertainty of what was to come lay heavily in the air, waiting to tip the balance once again. What new challenges awaited them on this winding path? Would trust fracture again, or could it finally take root? Sarah turned back toward Michael, trying to rein in the anxious thoughts swirling in her mind. Could Brenda really be an asset? She wondered, the idea feeling both liberating and terrifying. The very notion of relying on Brenda again pulled at deep-rooted fears and desires to protect Lily at all costs. As the shadows of evening deepened and painted the world in shades of gray, Sarah looked over to where Brenda and Lily were still reveling in the moment. Brenda had knelt down to inflate another balloon, laughter bubbling up as it floated awkwardly away. Lily giggled, chasing after it with gleeful abandon. It was a fleeting image, yet it stirred a warmth in Sarah's chest, a fragile connection beginning to weave together. Is it really possible? She thought. Can we rebuild all the lost moments? But as Michael continued explaining the fundraiser's complications, Sarah could feel the weight of their situation pressing heavily on her shoulders. We should consider options, Sarah. Maybe cut back on expenses. His voice faded as her mind flooded with worst-case scenarios. No, she interrupted him, a burst of determination igniting. We cannot cut any services for Lily. That's not happening. Michael nodded, the understanding in his eyes clear, but uncertainty still loomed. Then we need to think creatively. Perhaps part of that creativity is reaching out to Brenda. The thought lingered between them, an echo of possibility. Sarah felt a mixture of fear and determination rising within her. I'll have to talk to her. ASAP. She may be able to do more than just balloons. As if reading her mind, Michael placed a supportive hand on her shoulder. Do it when you're ready, but don't let pride get in the way. You know your daughter needs this. That simple statement knocked the breath out of her. Pride had been a barricade one she had built herself. In that moment, it crumbled just a little, feeling emboldened but still frail. Sarah walked toward Brenda and Lily. Her pulse raced as she tried to summon the right words, the love for her daughter coursing through her veins, pulling her forward. Brenda. The playful laughter faded as both women turned their attention toward Sarah. The innocence of Lily's joy shone through, but the air between the grown-ups thickened with unspoken tension. Hey, Sarah! Look at the balloon! Lily exclaimed, holding it up proudly, its bright red color sparkling with life. That's beautiful, honey. Sarah replied, forcing a smile, her resolve growing. Brenda, can we talk for a moment? Brenda's expression shifted from playful to serious, concern etching her features as she nodded, following Sarah a few paces away. What's wrong? Brenda asked softly, her voice filled with apprehension. It's about the fundraiser. The weight of those words sat heavily in the air, like the clouds before a storm. We're really struggling to meet our goals. Michael and I have been thinking, maybe you could help. Brenda's brow furrowed, surprise flickering across her features. You want my help? With the fundraiser? I do. I think you could do more than just share balloons. Your skills, they could really make a difference. For a moment, silence draped over them like a shroud, tensions dancing in the space between. Sarah squeezed her eyes shut, trying to block out the voices of doubt once again trying to sneak in. Could she truly trust Brenda enough to ask for this? But what choice did she have? This was about Lily, her sweet daughter, her heart in human form. I understand it's a lot, Sarah continued, opening her eyes to meet Brenda's gaze. But we can't do this alone. I can't do this alone. I'm scared, Brenda. Scared of getting hurt again, scared of letting you back in. Brenda inhaled slowly, her expression one of deep understanding. I get it, Sarah. I really do. But I want to help. I've missed so much, and I want to make things right. In that moment, Sarah felt the smallest flicker of hope shimmering in the dark, an invitation for new beginnings lighting the way through the shadows that had loomed so long. Okay, Sarah whispered, her voice quivering with emotion. Let us do this together. As they stood connected by intention, Lily danced in the distance, a balloon floating high in the air, an unspoken promise of a future yet unwritten. But doubt still lurked, and uncertainty hung thick in the air. Would this chance at cooperation be a bridge to something more, or yet another step toward disappointment? Tension wrapped around them, thick and heavy. The stakes were high, and the balance delicate. What would happen when they faced the truth of their past together? Would the path forward cut deeper wounds or finally heal? The sunlight slipped away, yielding to the faint glow of distant streetlights as Sarah stood beside Brenda, her heart racing. Although they were physically close, an ocean of history and unspoken words filled the space between them. Fear gripped her, but alongside it danced a tentative hope. Could this really work? Okay, Sarah said again, barely above a whisper. Let us brainstorm what we can do. I don't even know where to start. Brenda's eyes sparkled, the weight of responsibility suddenly lifting as a spark of excitement flickered. How about a community event? Something colorful and lively. We can combine activities that would attract all kinds of families. That could work, Sarah mused, her fingers tapping against her thigh. We could offer games for the kids, maybe a bake sale. And a raffle would boost fundraising efforts. Brenda's smile widened as she bounced ideas back and forth. And I can bring in artists from the local scene to showcase their work. We could even have some live music to draw people in. Sarah felt her spirits lift with every suggestion, the tension that had corroded their relationship beginning to dissolve. For the first time in a long time, the dread of facing the past felt manageable. It seemed they were building something new. But just as hope began to blossom, a shadow crept in. The fear of change hovered. What if this was just another false start? What are we forgetting? She pressed, uncertainty seeping into her tone. Honestly? Brenda leaned closer, lowering her voice. No fundraising effort ever succeeds without good outreach. We need to rally the community. But we also have to be transparent about what's at stake, especially regarding Lily. The name sent a familiar pang through Sarah's heart. She glanced back to where Lily was still dancing, unaware of the talk of effort and funds. We need to keep her involved, right? I want her to feel part of this, not just a passive figure. Definitely. Brenda agreed quickly. Incorporate her ideas. Kid's got a flair for creativity. Let us capitalize on that. A sense of unity started to envelope them. Together, it felt as if they were weaving a tapestry, pulling in threads from their mutual hopes and dreams. Woven together, they could create something vibrant and lasting. Okay, Sarah said, confidence building. What do you say we meet tomorrow to draft a plan? I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm excited. Brenda held her gaze, a mixture of empathy and gratitude shining through. Me too, Sarah. This is more than just fundraiser business, it's about rebuilding trust. But just then, a blaring car horn broke through the delicate moment. Both women turned to see Michael, who had been waiting nearby, gesturing for Sarah to join him. As she took a step back, the excitement shifted, replaced with the weight of uncertainty. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Sarah said, her voice steady as she turned to walk back to Michael, leaving Brenda in the soft glow of the streetlight. Every step felt heavy yet hopeful. She couldn't shake the feeling that the path they were embarking on would not just strain their relationship but expose deep wounds yet unhealed. Once seated beside Michael, Sarah felt the weight of her decision settle around her shoulders, leaving her breathless with anxiety and anticipation. You think Brenda can really commit? Michael asked, concern threading through his voice. She wants to help, Michael. More than I would be thought possible, Sarah replied, feeling her heart tug toward the warmth of possibility. And if it goes sideways? He raised an eyebrow, acutely aware of the potential for disaster. I have to hope, Sarah replied, her fingers curling around her purse tightly. I really want this to work, for Lily. Uncertainty twinkled in her chest, doubt hovered like a storm cloud. As they pulled into the driveway, Sarah stared out the window, her mind racing. Would this fundraiser be the key to unlocking their future or another reminder of the pain that lingered beneath the surface? And as she glanced at the distant streetlight, flickering just like her hope, she knew tomorrow would be a defining moment in their lives. How would she confront the shadows of the past while moving toward the brightness of a shared future? The morning sun spilled warmth into Sarah's kitchen as she shuffled around, making breakfast for Lily. The usual chaos of cereal boxes and spills felt strangely comforting. Yet, beneath it all, an undercurrent of anxiety pulsed through her. Today was the day. She and Brenda were supposed to sit down and draft the plan, but what if it fell apart? Mom, can I have strawberries with my waffles? Lily's voice chimed, breaking Sarah's reverie. Of course you can, sweetie. Sarah replied, forcing a smile as she turned to her daughter. Lily's hair was tousled, and her eyes sparkled with the innocence of childhood. Those moments melted Sarah's worries, reminding her why it was essential to make this fundraiser a success. While Lily giggled and danced around the breakfast table, Sarah stirred her coffee, lost in thought. She needed to find a way to channel this energy into something productive, something that would not only help Lily but also mend the rifts in her relationship with Brenda. After breakfast, Sarah gathered her notes and a laptop, sharing a quick hug with Lily before stepping out the door. The drive to the local cafe where they agreed to meet felt like forever. Her heart raced each time she thought of what lay ahead. What if Brenda wasn't committed? What if the meeting unearthed more unresolved issues? As she pulled into the cafe's bustling parking lot, Sarah took a deep breath. The storefront was alive, colorful flyers hung in the windows, and familiar faces waved as she made her way inside. The smell of freshly brewed coffee wrapped around her like a comforting embrace. Finding a table in the corner, Sarah anxiously arranged her notes, all too aware of the ticking clock. She felt the excitement build, knocking against her hopes and fears. If this worked, no, she couldn't let herself go there just yet. Brenda arrived minutes later, her face breaking into a wide smile. She walked over, her presence immediately filling the small space. "Hey. Sorry, I'm late. Traffic was crazy." "Not a problem," Sarah replied, trying to mask the tightness in her throat. "I've been thinking about how we can get everyone involved." They began bouncing ideas back and forth, with Sarah feeling their connection strengthen with each suggestion. Brenda's enthusiasm was infectious. They crafted plans for a vibrant festival filled with arts and crafts, local food stalls, even a community potluck. But then the conversation turned. Brenda, her voice suddenly serious, said, "What happens if we don't raise enough money for Lily? If things don't go as planned?" The question hit Sarah like a punch in the gut. The shadows of the past encroached again, weighing down their fragile moment. "I know, I just have to believe we will." "Faith is essential, but so is strategy," Brenda countered, her tone firm yet caring. "We need a backup plan, just in case." Sarah nodded, the tension in her chest growing heavier. Planning and hope were one thing, but reality had a funny way of jarring ambitions. What if they couldn't raise the funds needed? Just then, Lily's cheeriness echoed in her mind. "This is for her," Sarah whispered, a newfound determination washing over her. "I think we can do this," Sarah said with renewed fire. "But maybe we need to incorporate the community more. What if we ask them for ideas or even volunteers?" Brenda's eyes sparkled again. "Yes. Let us reach out to schools and other community organizations. If everyone feels part of this, they'll want to help." As they continued to brainstorm, Sarah felt sparks of possibility igniting the weight in her heart. Even if doubt lingered, every idea felt brighter, but a piece of fear still clung to her thoughts. They had a long way to go before the event, and uncertainty loomed large. When they wrapped up their meeting, both women felt optimistic but aware of the hurdles still ahead. Outside, as Sarah watched the children playing and laughing under the sun, she couldn't shake the lingering worry. How would they share this vision with others, and would it take off the way they hoped? As they walked to their cars, Brenda turned to Sarah, her face tight with seriousness. "We can do this together, but we'll need to face our fears head-on. Are you ready?" Sarah swallowed hard, her resolve hardening, but those shadows remained. Could they overcome the past in time to save Lily's future? She took a deep breath, staring at the vast blue sky. "I'm ready. Let us make this happen." Yet, as she drove home, doubt gnawed at her. Would they ever truly escape the burdens that haunted them? The evening sky pulled a blanket of deep blue over the town as Sarah navigated her way home. The streets glimmered under the light of the street lamps, but the glow did little to warm the unsettling feeling in her gut. She parked in her driveway, staring at the door as if it were the threshold of all her worries. Inside, the aroma of the leftover dinner lingered, reminding her of the chaotic morning. Lily's laughter echoed in her mind, filling the void, but as she stepped into the living room, the laughter from the television felt empty. Her daughter sat there, transfixed by a cartoon. Seeing her like this pushed on Sarah's heart. "Hey, pumpkin," she said softly, giving Lily a light squeeze on the shoulder. "Mom! Can we have a picnic tomorrow?" Lily's eyes sparkled with delight, pulling Sarah out of her spiraling thoughts. "Sure. That sounds fun," she replied, forcing herself to sound more enthusiastic than she felt. As a smile spread across Lily's face, the weight of worry began to lift, at least temporarily. Sarah watched as Lily smiled, her little fingers tapping on the couch rhythmically, fully lost in her animated world. The innocence was precious, but it reminded Sarah that the stakes were high. She needed to raise that money, not just for the event, but to ensure that her daughter had what she needed. Suddenly, the sound of her phone vibrating on the counter broke the moment. It was a message from Brenda. "Great meeting today. Let us finalize the details tomorrow." Excited. Grinning, Sarah texted back a thumbs-up emoji followed by, "Me too. Let us do this." But the exciting moment quickly faded. What if Brenda's optimism wasn't enough to fuel their efforts? How would they get the community involved? Just then, a flurry of thoughts rushed through Sarah's mind: flyers, calls, emails. Each ticking second felt like a missed opportunity. The clock was ticking, and with it, the hope for a smooth path ahead. As Lily finished her show, Sarah snuggled next to her on the couch. "What if we invited some of your friends to join us for the picnic? Maybe we can turn it into a fun little event." "Yeah. That would be awesome," Lily chirped, pinky promise style, and Sarah felt a thrill course through her. Planning the tiny picnic turned into an extended brainstorming session. They decided to make sandwiches, pack sweet treats, and create a treasure hunt. The joy on Lily's face sparkled with each new idea, reminding Sarah of the power of community. But deep down, questions still loomed. Would offering food or games stir enough excitement? Would parents contribute? Or would every effort feel like a shot in the dark? The weight of strategy began treading heavily on her heart again. After a long evening, Sarah tucked Lily into bed, kissing her forehead. "Good night, sweet girl. Tomorrow is a big day." "Yes. Our picnic," Lily muttered sleepily, dimples flickering with hope. As Sarah closed the door, it felt heavy, like it was compelling her backward into the swirling uncertainties. She sank onto the couch, staring blankly at the wall. With tomorrow just hours away, could she gather the community, ignite that same sense of joy she felt with Lily? As she turned to grab her laptop and revisit their draft plans, another message pinged. It was from Cheryl, a neighbor who used to work with nonprofits. "Hey Sarah. I heard about the fundraiser. What do you think about a small meeting to get everyone rallied up?" A flicker of hope ignited as Sarah read the message. Could this be the breakthrough she needed? She wrote back quickly, "Absolutely. When can we meet?" As she hit send, a mix of fear and excitement bubbled up inside her. Sarah couldn't help but wonder, would this lead to the gathering they so desperately needed, or would it all come crashing down like everything else? As she prepared for bed, the uncertainties loomed large, but deep down, a small flame of courage flickered. Would that tiny spark grow into something bigger, or was it destined to be extinguished by doubt? Tomorrow would reveal all. Morning light filtered through the curtains, casting warmth into the chilly room. Sarah blinked awake, the gravity of the day ahead flooding her mind like a rushing tide. She glanced at the clock, realizing she still had a bit of time before Lily stirred. But there was no time to waste. She rose quietly, careful not to wake her daughter. The aroma of coffee brewing drifted through the kitchen as she flipped on the machine. With each quiet click of the buttons, her mind buzzed with to-do lists and potential plans. Lily's laughter, as vivid as a summer's day, echoed again in her heart. Sarah put on a smile, but self-doubt chipped away at the edges. Was everything she planned enough? Would the community come together when she needed them most? As Sarah set the table for breakfast, she heard soft footsteps padding across the floor. Lily emerged, her wild hair bouncing and eyes still heavy with sleep. "Good morning, Mommy," she exclaimed, yawning. The brightness in her voice was like sunlight breaking through clouds. "Good morning, sweet girl. Are you ready for our picnic planning?" Lily nodded enthusiastically, plopping down in her chair. Can we make the sandwiches in the shape of hearts? Of course. That's a great idea. Sarah replied, the warmth of her daughter's joy pushing back her own worries. She set about making breakfast while Lily bounced in her seat. After breakfast, they pulled together supplies for their picnic brainstorm session. Sarah grabbed the markers and paper while Lily gathered stickers and decorations. Their living room became a swirl of creativity and color as they discussed ideas for games and activities, giving Sarah the fuel she needed to keep climbing. Mommy, can I write the invitation letters? Lily asked, an eager sparkle glimmering in her eyes. Sure. Let us write them together, Sarah said, as a wave of pride washed over her. Watching her daughter take charge, each letter a testament to her enthusiasm, reminded Sarah of the strength they held as a team. They spent the next hour scribbling invites, tracing hearts and stars. Laughter filled the air as they swapped stories and dreams. Yet, amid the fun, Sarah's heart tugged with the reality of their situation. When they ran out of paper, Lily hopped up excitedly. Let us give them to our neighbors. Some friends from school will want to join. They love the treasure hunt. Sarah smiled at her daughter's determination. Yes. That's the spirit. But just as Lily rushed to gather the envelopes, Sarah's phone buzzed again. It was Brenda. Hey. I've got some people interested in helping out. They can meet at the park around 3. You in? Her heart raced. Could this truly be happening? She typed back quickly, confirming and even managing to add a smiley face trying to channel her excitement despite her lingering anxiety. Mom! Can we go now? Lily interrupted, clutching the colorful, hand-drawn envelopes. Absolutely, let us get everyone excited. As they ventured outside, the air was fresh, full of possibilities. Sarah felt each step lighten her spirit. Neighborhood kids played on the lawns, and as she waved to a few familiar faces, it dawned on her that this network of friends could be a lifeline in the chaos. Hey! We're having a picnic tomorrow. You guys should join. Responses poured in, curiosity and laughter mixed in the air. Each cheerful reply seemed to push away her doubts, igniting hope. Yet, as the sun climbed higher, a new fear gripped her. Would they rally together in her time of need? Was her vision big enough for the community to share? Would they actually come? Back at home, as they folded the last of the invitations, Lily turned and asked, Mom, what if we pick a theme? Like adventure or treasure? Treasure sounds perfect, my little adventurer, Sarah replied, forcing brightness in her voice, hiding her nerves beneath layers of hope, but doubt still lurked in the shadows of her mind. A half-formed thought nagged at her, bringing back the fear. How would she hold this all together? Just then, Lily crowded in close, clutching her pencil, ready to draw. We can make this fun. We just have to believe we can. Sarah felt the heat of that unshakable innocence wash over her. They were a team. Whatever happened next, she couldn't let Lily down. With the clock ticking, excitement mixed with trepidation. In that moment, all Sarah could think was, if she dared to dream big enough, maybe they could touch the hearts of the community. As the sun dipped low, she caught Lily's eye, feeling that courage spark within her. But in the back of her mind lingered the question, would this be enough to bring everyone together? Would tomorrow reveal the very miracle she was hoping for? The day of the picnic dawned fresh and bright, the sun casting a warming glow over Maplewood. Sarah could feel her nerves dancing wildly as she threw open the curtains, sunlight flooding her small living room. Today was not just a picnic, it was a promise, a chance at redemption, and the last hope for her daughter's future. Mom, is it time yet? Lily chirped, bounding into the room, dressed in her favorite flower-patterned dress, hair bouncing cheerfully. It's nearly time, sweet girl. Let me just check on the last of our supplies, Sarah replied, her heart racing in rhythm with Lily's bubbling excitement. The picnic wasn't just about sandwiches and balloons, it was their shot to connect with the community, to invite support for Lily's expensive medication. The table was cluttered with bright decorations, heart-shaped sandwiches, and bags of snacks. A treasure chest filled with toys was nestled nearby, a beacon for laughter and joy. Yet, amidst the joy, Sarah felt the gnawing tension of uncertainty. Would anyone show up? Would they rally together for Lily's sake? As they packed the car, Sarah turned to her daughter. Remember, today is all about fun and togetherness, okay? She had rehearsed this pep talk 1,000 times, a mantra against her anxiety. Okay, Mom. Let us be awesome. Lily exclaimed, her enthusiasm lighting up the gray clouds of doubt hovering above Sarah's heart. Arriving at the park, the familiar sense of earth and grass mingled with the warm summer air. Sarah set up the picnic blanket, her hands trembling slightly as she unpacked the spread. Each item pulled from the bag was laden with hope, wrapped in the love they had poured into this day. She could already see a few familiar faces drifting toward the area, and her heart fluttered. Hey, Sarah! Cheryl called, waving enthusiastically. We brought cupcakes. The sight of her neighbor and a couple of others filled Sarah with a rush of warmth. They weren't alone, their community was coming together right before her eyes. Cupcakes. Sweet. Lily squealed, darting over to collect one. The laughter that followed felt like a radiant lift, hope threaded through the air. As time passed, more families arrived. Children raced around, squealing with delight, chasing colorful balloons that danced in the breeze. The park, once a backdrop for anxiety, now transformed into a realm of laughter and togetherness just as Sarah had dreamt. Finally, gathering the group for a quick announcement, Sarah took a deep breath, heart steadying. Thank you all for coming. This is more than just a picnic for us, it's about supporting Lily and bringing our community together. The murmurs quieted, eyes turning toward her, each face filled with warmth. When Lily was diagnosed, I felt lost. But having you here today reminds me that we're not alone in this, she continued, catching the glimmer of understanding in the crowd. We're stronger together. When she finished, a ripple of applause echoed in the park, sending a shiver of relief washing over her. Sarah looked around, searching for familiar faces, and found Brenda smiling proudly in the distance, holding a handful of colorful raffle tickets. All right, everyone. We've got games, a treasure hunt for the kids, and don't forget to grab a ticket for our raffle. Brenda announced, her voice bubbling with infectious enthusiasm. The children's laughter harmonized with the energy of hope, bubbling over, spilling into the warm air. They played games, parents mingled, and as laughter spilled from every corner, Sarah felt her heart swell. This was the life she fought for, a community united for a common cause, a family, even if not all bound by blood. As the day drew to a close, they gathered around a treasure chest, each child surrendering their ticket for a chance to win the biggest prize. Lily's eyes sparkled with excitement, her innocent belief palpable. In that moment, as raffle tickets were drawn, the stillness that echoed through the crowd as the winner was announced blended into a cacophony of cheers. But even louder was the sound of Sarah's heart beating. Steadily, a rhythm of hope and joy. After all the fun, Sarah, leaning against the picnic table, felt Brenda walking toward her with an air of purpose. We raised almost enough for Lily's medicine. I think we can reach our goal with the right outreach. The plunge of hope filled Sarah's heart anew. Really? That's amazing. Yeah, but it's more than that, Brenda continued, apprehension flickering in her eyes. This isn't just about the fundraising. We've got a chance to rebuild our relationship too. Sarah regarded Brenda, the realization washing over her. The warmth of community was not just something to be celebrated, it was there to heal them too. Maybe there was space for forgiveness, and perhaps a chance to redefine what family meant. Finally, she found her voice, steadier than before. Maybe we can start with this. Together, for Lily, she said, her eyes reflecting the hope they both sought. As the sun dipped low, painting the sky in sparks of orange and pink, Lily ran towards them, radiant with the joy of the day. Mom! Look at all the fun we had. Can we do this every year? Brenda smiled at Sarah, hope flooding her voice. Uncertainty still danced at the edges, but at that moment, surrounded by laughter and warmth, Sarah made a choice. Yes, she finally replied, her voice steady. Yes, we will. Sarah felt an overwhelming wave of gratitude for this second chance, for family, and for the community that had rallied around them. As she looked at Brenda, their eyes locked, unspoken understanding burning bright. And as they turned to watch the children, the laughter ringing like sweet music in their ears, she knew this was only the beginning. Let this be a lesson learned, together they could face any storm, and it was only the first bloom of hope in a garden yet to be tended. This was their moment. And then, as the sun set, bathed in a sea of orange and pink, Sarah whispered a silent prayer of gratitude. This wouldn't just be the end of their struggles but the dawn of new beginnings filled with laughter, love, and perhaps, a family once again. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.